Whew, it's chilly.
Right.
Welcome back. Made a bunch of progress. As you know, it's been kind of chilly and wintry. There was a break in the weather. Right after it stopped snowing, I went out and I took little Jules' face off. Got the whole front grill, got the fenders off, and I realized both headlights were smashed, but we're doing this little Nash Metropolitan project, and we're not going to need the headlights. So look at these, period correct bezels and headlamps. These are pretty tasty too. I wonder what it would look like if I was to fuse the entire front of the Nash fender onto this, where it was smashed. Just thinking out loud. But yeah, it is what it is. This came back to life pretty good just by pulling it like you saw. It's pretty darn straight. If you look down, one little ding here, that's gonna pop out, no problemo. That must be where point of impact. But you see, they torched it to get that radiator to fit in because
Wow.
it wasn't a CabOver, so they just torch cut it. But all in all, it's a very solid piece. I'm ecstatic.
It reminds me of the grill like on Cars, that movie.
It's Tomater. It looks
Yeah.
exactly like that, right? Little Jewel is Tomater's, I don't know, relative.
Auntie.
I got the sniffles being outside so much. This is the side that wasn't crashed. And you see there's just that little wrinkle as I started to whack it yesterday with that ball peen hammer. I'd like to direct you over to this fender. Sorry if I'm congested, but it's
It's chilly.
I can see my breath.
Yeah, no, I saw mine too when I came out here, but I have on my big old polar bear.
I
thing.
turned the heater down a little bit so it's not too hissing in the background.
That's the heat in the shop, guys.
Woo! It's feast or famine in here. Today it's about 34, and in the summer, this table is red hot. Like, it's even difficult to touch the tools if they sit out in the sun. It's just so
Yeah.
extreme temperatures.
Yeah, and that metal table outside the shop. Ooh.
Yeah. Check out this fender. A lot of work went into this. Like the way I was pointing out the construction of the hood. This is the fender. This is the rear portion of the fender that bolts to the cowl, and they brought it forward. You can see the weld here. So they took the front of the light detail and then the rear where it bolts to the cowl and just spliced them together. They changed the wheel fender arch position and then created this step area. You see a little reinforcement out of a heavier gauge. And then it's spliced right here because they must have changed the diameter of the wheel opening or something. For some reason it's been welded right through here as well.
It must be really cool as like a custom car builder to do like all your own builds, and you know how like you've sold them and like people take them apart or whatever, and they probably study what you do when they buy your cars, much like you're studying this. Like,
Oh,
I had no idea.
Yeah, a good example is Jeremy Jones with the space junkie.
Yeah.
With the space junkie. And
Yeah.
he spent the time with me. I wish I could spend some time with the person that created this. It's like
Right.
it would be so much like cooler.
If anybody out there knows who would have maybe
Right.
driven this truck, because a few people have commented about it being
From a mine or
from
something.
a mine. So maybe that's where the name Little Jewel
I
came
took the
from.
reflector off. It was blue before it was black.
Oh, wow.
Just saying. So maybe somebody saw a big, weird-looking blue truck.
Yeah. If
I don't know if it was
anybody
Little
knows,
Jewel, yeah.
email us.
Oh, speaking of communication, this truck I'm doing a chassis swap for, so I am in the market for, it's like a year 2000 or newer 4x4 Chevy GM. I need a front clip of a chassis, complete IFS, independent front suspension, 4-wheel drive, 8 lug, heavy duty. It's not going to be a 4x4. You're gonna freak out when you see that idea.
And if you do have information on it, email us at rousselscustomfabrication@gmail.com. The link is in the YouTube. So rousselscustomfabrication@gmail.com. Or you can DM Miss Roussel on Insta, because Ian gets a lot of messages. But rousselscustomfabrication@gmail is best.
Yeah. Now with all
And-
that out of the way, let's get to work.
Well, I want to say one more thing.
Yes. I want
If you guys are loving this content, please subscribe if you haven't and like it, because it helps with the algorithm, keeps us motivated, and we're just really enjoying doing this.
I don't need no more motivation. What you talking about? People have also asked, "Oh, hey, are you still doing the TV show?" It's like, yes, we are. We're not crossing swords on that. This is like playtime for me. I got a full-time gig with the TV show. I need more.
Work hard.
So yeah, we're still doing it. You know, it comes out usually Thanksgiving, Christmas-ish, something like that. So we're just doing this on my, I take an hour and a half a day.
It's
Fun
how
time.
Ian decompresses,
Yeah.
is working on more cars. Okay, what the heck is that?
This is the fire axe, better known as the
it's raining
oxyacetylene
outside.
torch. Yeah, here coming in.
What is it called? The fire axe?
No, it's called a oxyacetylene torch. This company, Flame Tech, sent this over. Super cool. Totally works awesome. My torch was archaic. A lot of them are. They seem to work forever.
Oh, yeah, I remember when you got that. You told me about how exciting it was.
Super cool. What I'm going to do is someone else asked, hey, wouldn't you heat up that metal on the hood before you started lumping it? I didn't, because I felt like I could push that back into shape without it, because I was going to use the English wheel. This one is a pretty good complex shape in a small area that's been crunched. So I'm just going to warm up everything. I'm not going to hammer it while it's red hot. I'm just going to anneal it because there's stress in the material. Annealing means, look it up. Hey, try that out while I heat this up.
Ooh.
So I'm going to leave the flame a little bit carburized, a little more fuel than air, if you can hear me. So I'm not trying to burn through the steel, make it red hot. I'm just going to get it nice and red around the areas I want to move. See how wrinkled up this is right here? That's supposed to be flat. So I'm going to get it nice and red. And this is welded right here, so I know it's already been annealed, but it's also very strong, so I'm just going to get that nice and red. I'm going to lose a little paint on that part, but hey, you got to give a little to get a little.
Wow. I have never, ever, ever seen something like that.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Wow.
It's amazing.
So as people are tuning in and kind of learning about us, I did not know about custom cars or any of this stuff when I met Ian. So just as many of you people that maybe are watching that don't know a lot about cars and just how to put them together, same. So a lot of my viewing of the show, of
I'm
this,
just going to put on your
PPE.
earmuffs.
A lot of you viewing and learning for the first time, yeah. Same.
Now I'll begin. Somebody said they loved that I used the term pummeling.
It is a really good term.
I'm going
Hold
to
on.
begin to massage. I'm going to
getting
massage this into shape. So again, I'm going to use the table as a dolly. I got a little ridge where the wheel arches, but I want to knock that. I want to knock some sense into that piece. This is what I was trying to do yesterday on the truck, and I couldn't get the proper angle on it. See how soft that metal is now? Just getting this weird little flag out of the way. It's not going to help us at all. All right, let's see what this looks like. So this should be flat, see? And it went king way in. I'm going to detach this weld here because I think that this and this strength, this arch, might be holding it from going back into shape. So that's a big old ugly weld. I'm just going to nip it off. Aha! Now it's free. Yeah, I think all that trauma was keeping it kind of bound up.
That's what trauma will do.
Ask the ER nurse. She knows. Trauma will bind you up.
I'm talking
all right.
emotionally, but
I was going to lop this into shape. And I learned that I'm not going to talk while I'm hammering. I'm going to let there be a pause, then we can adjust the arm. Look at that. Now I'm going to use this here. I brought out the anvil because I thought we might have to get medieval on it.
it's pretty though.
Well, maybe we will. Let's make it count. Nope. It's not going to help us because we need a flat edge. Like this flat edge of the table here. Let me push all my trash out of the way. Wait, this is treasure, not trash. It's part of the other project. Aha! Wedge it right in there. What the heck that is? The old slag or something. Yeah. Yeah, getting a little closer. Let me try a little steel plate action right here. I don't have a dolly this smooth or this thin, so I'm just going to set this piece of plate in there. Use that as a backer. Like butter. Cool. I'm going to work this a little bit. See how it went kink. Overall, the contour looks good. It's mostly just the way that this is turned up.
Holy smoke. You did it.
It's flatter than flat. Just goes to show. Everything can be repaired. I don't know. I see some guys on the internet, on Instagram, salvaging these old VW buses, seemingly left out in the woods. And I mean, what a wreck! There's so many more talented people in the world. You should look at some of the restorations going on. This is a child's play in comparison. All right. You see a whole lot of hammer marks. So it's low right here. I'm going to grab that same hammer I used before and Jamie's favorite dolly. I'm going to start tapping. I'll put the dolly here and work that out. That's what that annealing did. Got everything in place. Yep. I'm also supporting, you couldn't see it with the hood a heck of a lot because it was so big, but I'm always holding the thing in position and secure to the table, so you're only moving what you're working on. So I think I pushed it too far, which helps. Now I'll bring it back. See, getting it set so that it's like the position it wants to be in, and then work it. There's a little body filler in here, but not much. You clearly see the welds that were done now with all the paint off. See that kink there? Yeah. Give it that action. Use a little something. It's like a hook, something I could put in there. There's a whole bunch of different dollies. I'll show you this style.
I want to know.
Of course you do. Look at that one. Special. Look at that one. Look at that one.
Wow, that's quite the collection of dollies.
So I mentioned a hook just a second ago. Look, so I'll be able to hook under there. And that's going to be the bridge.
Oh.
Knock the living you-know-what out of this thing. Ooh, it's hot. Sliding around. Yeah, I think this square one. A little heavier hammer because it's thicker. Yes, indeed. That's pretty close, huh? You get the little sharper one right in here. So the inside here is was just never joined properly. I could see now. So I'm going to cut that later and just smooth it out and re-weld it. But this contour looks pretty good. So I think the way that this was put together, see that hard edge? It may not have been all that smooth from the beginning. I'm not sure. But I'm going to hammer on it a little. See if we can't get that to relax a little bit. Wanting to maybe use the rubber hammer at this point. I don't know. I'm just going to see what this does. Oh, yeah, I did it. Yes. Curved edge. now that plane follows right through. More hiya. There it is. Just came back. Now this looks decent. Hit this a little bit fatter on this side. All right. I could live with that. So, I don't think I even want to mess with this until it's back on the cab, because this is going to align and then this should look nice and even under the door. There is a little kink in this footstep right here. I guess I'll chuck that on the anvil. I think some nice diamond plate caps on this later in the game will support it and look cool where you step in. Yeah, this is going to be an adventure. But I'll want to bolt this to the cab before I do any reconstruction. And our weather is prohibiting those issues.
Lil is standing in the rain barking. She wants to come in the shop.
Crazy dogs. All right, so this I think is good for right now. This is dented pretty good right here where it took a shot in the headlight ring. Just open that back up. Little chisel action will bring that out.
I love this little truck. Like, the more you take it apart and you start doing this, like, little Jewel is just...
You know what I'd say it is? It's a little jewel. Somebody said, what did he say the name of it was? The bijou. Bijou means little jewel.
Like in French?
Yeah.
Aw.
Maybe thinking like the Bijou Theater.
And we're loving your comments, guys. We read them all. We don't answer back or whatever. There's a lot of comments, but
I'm just playing hard to get. So I said maybe this isn't bijou, this is big Jew. Big Jew.
Big Jewel.
Big jewel.
Aw.
Yeah. That'll work for now.
Looks good to me.
So let me stand this over here. Yeah, it's a little twisted, but we won't know where it's going to go until we get that back on the cab. This one here, these steps are so heavy. Listen, it's like 1/2-inch plate steps.
Well, if it was a mining truck.
Oh yeah, heavy duty. We cut that other step off.
Oh,
It's just one little strap.
Not my glasses.
Yeah, and these are totally reusable. No damage in the steps. One little bolt here and then it goes off. I really try to use new hardware on everything, so that's why I usually just cut bolts right through. But for whatever reason, I'm going to save these two reflectors. They're just old. They're cool.
I love that you save, like, parts of projects, even if you're not gonna use it on that particular one. I noticed that you have like this little cachet of hidden gems.
Right. That's off our trailer, the farther. That was on the front porch of the house.
Yep.
We got one more reflector. And then that's the front of the caddy-whacked Lily, the Cadillac. It's a lot of cool stuff.
We like relics. We're fans of them.
I'm sure a lot of other people save pieces, but if we're not going to use it on this one, maybe the next. I'll take this off. Being a fuss, I'll just use a washer on that. Yeah, truck was blue. All right, I'm gonna clean up some of this debris, because if there's anything solid on this table, when you hammer on the steel, if there's a little rock or something, that's gonna leave a dent where you don't want a dent. Nice flat surface. So this is a pretty easy one. That's just, it got banged by their forklift or something. So set this in place, put on my ears, and then commence whacking. See, right there. Hold that up. Come through here. Right, so it's at the oil can we described stage right now. Somebody, I think that's an auto body tech, a little more skilled than me, made a pretty cool statement. He said, first in, last out. And I took that like, okay, so the first dent in is the last one to get finished. So you work it out like you're unfolding a wrinkled paper bag, so to speak. So I got the real stress out of that in the impact. Now it's hitting that oil can stage. I'll bop it with the rubber hammer and then finesse the last part. Again, the first part of impact, do that last. Feels pretty good. I mentioned that yesterday about feeling the dents. I got a little action right here. I can feel from the underside. And that's probably the last bit of repair. Look at that. As soon as you're making contact with the dolly, you're flat. Look at that. No more dent. Couple little high spots from the hammer doing its work. Just come in. Yeah, a little low right here. Close enough for me.
I think it's cool.
Quick way to just check something like this is to just use a straight edge. A file will work. I have this 36 grit paper. It's not the right paper for this board, but just cross hatch it. Feel it stick? It's hitting something high. It's that screw. Let me get rid of that. But that's what this edge will do for you. It'll help you register where the high and low spots are. Sand, there you go. Probably would have helped if I took the hardware out. So, as they say, X marks the spot. This is just like doing body work. You're doing body filler. You're going to pull it with the 36 grit. It's showing you all the high spots. So when I say X, you got one way, and then you cross hatch it. It creates a map of the high and low. See where it's black? Paint is left over. That means it's low. This area. Zoom in. Raise it up. This is very close. Close enough for me. That's, I mean, super, super shallow. You can see this dent here. Look at this. See that? Give it a little crosshatch. There it is. It's low. And then with the convex. Yeah, I think it's going to be easier when I mount it back on the truck to really reach in that headlight and give it a good finesse. This is a little dinged right here. A little ouchie. So I think I'm going to grab this with the big channel locks. I think I'm going to put a bar across here and give it the squeeze. There's a bolt stuck in there too. Just bridge it like this. The big grabbers. Come on, big grabbers. Let's see if we can accomplish something. Crush it. How'd that do anything? Sure did. Just start to get it back into shape that it used to be. Kind of give a little rotational. That's pretty close. You see it just went blink. I'm going to push it back. Can you dig it?
Yep.
I knew you would.
Going David Copperfield on it.
So this is where it becomes a bit of an exercise. Let me clamp this. Control is the absolute rule of this type of thing. Because it's sheet metal, you're banging and pushing on one thing, you can make the other side of it just get weird, you know, twisted out of shape. So now it's locked to the table. I could push this like I want. That was easy. See, that just snapped into place. I think I'm going to weld this right now. I'm going to connect that. That'll give me some strength. I'm going to weld it just like that.
Oh, and then that'll keep it like flatter.
It'll help for sure. There you go. Wasn't that really screwed up a second ago? I just set the welder on 16.8 for the heat for the volts. If you've been following, I tend to dabble with that a bit. Because on this, I know I'm going to be working on a little rust and a little paint. And I'm just wanting to burn right through that. Again, if I do heat it up really well with the weld, it will anneal that area also. Because probably some of it's going to fall out because it's rusty. So I'm using a pretty good heat to just buzz it in there hot. Hope it sticks. So that's kind of the rule with, like, you know, a crusty old restoration like this. I mean, I could sandblast it, but I never know what's going to be chucked in the trash and what's going to be saved. So I just go for it. Yeah. Bring this up just a touch. Oh. Ground down. Let me clean a spot for a good, nice ground. All right. Yeah, actually, I'm going to put a little vice grip on that to line that up. As I mentioned, control. I'm not a control freak. I just want metal to do what I say. That's the definition of a good teamwork to me. Everyone doing exactly what I say. Just like the metal. All right, I'm going to fill up this hole too. We'll figure it out somewhere else, but I want to make this as strong as possible. Yeah, see? It's a little crusty, but I'm finding something that grabs. Then I'm working on that nice clean weld, trying to spread the love. Without having it fall apart by getting overheated. Yeah. So I filled in that whole thing, keeping it stretched out like this. I'm going to pop off these channel locks, or pop off these vice grips, and I'll finish this right through. I just felt this thing relax, like the tension was in it, and it just laid down flat like we wanted it from the start. Sheet metal's still a little wrinkled, but now this is kind of a nice smooth arc. I'm gonna put the dolly in here. I'm gonna use this edge. Why? Because look, it looks like that. I'm gonna set this in the low portion. Bring the higher one home where we like it. I'm gonna weld this, and then I'm gonna pop that last bit out. But now I'm gonna turn the heat down. Welding on an edge like this, the novice will experience a new level of frustration. But I got a plan. I'm going to start welding right at my old weld where it's clean and thick and not get too hot. Just going to tap it on the surface and then go in behind and re-support it. That way when I grind down, it doesn't get super thin through this very fragile area. So that's good and strong. I'm going to buzz in a little more right through here. Now that I cooled down. This was an area where there was like a washer detail or something. See these things? It was one of those. So it just happened to get rusty and fell apart after the collision. I'm going to come in and bring that out. Yeah. Finish this up. Cool. I like it. Just flip it over. I'll come in. Yeah, I could see all the area that I worked. It's all nice and presenting. I'll just buzz in from behind. Pretty rusty back here. A little more metal on the inside. It's just going to help this stretched out area come back to life. You could see, yeah. You could see by the redness that I was able to weld a whole bunch all the way through. Sometimes with a repair like this, even with a small dent that was on the surface, I'll just weld it up. There was a little ding that I couldn't hit out because the fastener was in the way, and I just filled it up, grind it off. Just a little bit thicker. It'll help this old fender stay in shape till the next collision. Hi. I know it's been weather, there's been snow, sleet, all the dog things.
Oh,
Hi, Doug. So I mentioned we had these headlights. Just for a little satisfaction, let's pop them into place and see what we're working with. I just realized this hardware is crust amundo. This thing lived near the beach or something.
Really?
To be rusty like this underneath, that's not characteristic of this territory. When I say the beach, I'm just talking out loud. That would probably be more like moist earth. Beach cars get really rusty in the drip rails around the roof, tops of the window edges. This was sitting in a field of grass somewhere. But it's coming out. I might have to transplant the sheet metal.
Wow.
This is a different fastener. Almost every one of these headlight bezels will have a simple screw on the bottom. This one has something a little more complicated looking. There's like a little washer. It's a little bit different detail than I see. I'm just going to put the grinding disc right through there and nip that off. That's kind of unique to what I'm used to seeing. I don't really understand what I'm looking at at the moment. Alright, so it's obvious, like most cars, somebody messed around with this. Not sure 100% of the mounting detail on this. This was not really fastened. Let's see if this fits this. Yeah, it has the same little kind of tab right here. So that will index. Oh, that's a smaller headlight. That ain't gonna work. Unless we sawed the whole front of that fender off and used the little turn signal detail too. That'd be pretty slick. Well, folks, we've got a new development, but we're a little bit closer. I think the next episode is going to be very satisfying. Do a little more welding, a little more configuring. Hopefully the weather comes back, because it's chilly. Tune in next time.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Episode of This Little Jewel.
That's cool. That